That's right, we are in a new state. We crossed the state line out in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay yesterday and didn't even realize it until we were well past it. So first stop here in Maryland. It was a quick overnight. We're anchored here in a little wide spot in the channel. It's only about 5:30 this morning and we are up and coffee's been made. A little breakfast has been eaten and we are getting ready to start the engines and get going. I've got about a 6.5 hour cruise up to Annapolis where we hope to catch one of the mooring balls near downtown Annapolis. So we're going to try to get there as early as possible. Should be a good, smooth, quiet day out there. 0 to 1 foot is the worst wave condition that's currently being reported. Aha, that'll be good. We're underway right now from Solomons up to Annapolis, and we're out in the Chesapeake, and this is actually the calmest day I think we've had of the 4 times we've been out in the Chesapeake Bay so far. But it's kind of gloomy. No rain forecast really to speak of, but a lot of clouds, and cool, low 60 degrees. And we're getting out into some traffic here. We've got 2 large ships. We're aimed right at one right now. Let's see if I can get that on video. That's about a 550 foot long ship out of the Netherlands right there. Obviously it's going to pass across our path. In fact, we're going to be turning a little bit to port before we get to their track anyway. And over here is a much larger ship. They don't show the length of it on AIS, but it's much bigger than the one I just showed you. And there's 2 tugboats out there, it looks like, getting ready to guide it into somewhere. It shows it's going about 5 knots right now, but we'll keep an eye on that one as well. Well, I think I figured out what's going on with this Japanese ship and the tugs. That dock right there is part of this natural gas, LNG, liquid natural gas export facility, which is right over there. Not sure if you can see the tops of the tanks there, the white tops of the tanks, just to the left of the lighthouse. But I presume that that big Japanese tanker is going to pull up to those docks and take on a bunch of liquid natural gas and take it somewhere else in the world. Pretty busy day out here on the Chesapeake. We've got some more traffic over here. That is an American Cruise Lines ship. We've seen a number of them coming up the Atlantic intracoastal, and this one's going about 9.5 knots, a couple knots faster than us, so we'll try to stay out of his way and not get run over. This area around this dock is marked on the chart as a restricted area, and we are staying just outside the line that says restricted so we can get as close a view as possible. Plus that's pretty much the line we want to take anyway. Here's a little closer look at that Japanese ship getting docked up there at the natural gas facility. And we are just barely outside the restricted area, a little less than a quarter mile outside of it. We'll be within almost a 1/10 of a mile of it before we pass it, but as long as we're outside of it, we're okay. going on here this morning, including this Japanese ship over here at the docks there, kind of blurry because of the isinglass, filling up at the liquid natural gas facility. At least it keeps me on my toes. There's a clearer view of the Japanese ship. It's still not quite up to the docks. It's really moving in slow. They're taking a lot of time getting it pushed up against the docks there. We've got a law enforcement boat over there with its lights flashing, making sure people like me don't get in their way, I suppose. One of the cool things about the loop, especially in places like Chesapeake Bay where there's lots of commercial ships, is just to see all these ships and where they're from and how far they've traveled. And we are about to be passed. We're being overtaken by a very large ship called the GNG Concorde 3. Its home port is Hong Kong, and it's been traveling for 18 days and 5 hours from Mersin, Turkey, on its way to Baltimore. So it's pretty close to its destination. And it's about to overtake us. It's going about 13 knots. We're going about half that speed, about 7 knots right now. It's going to be interesting to see how big the wake is. Let me see if I can get a view of that for you. Well, there she is. That's the GNG Concorde 3 out of Hong Kong, traveling from Turkey to Baltimore. And we're coming up on a relatively narrow area where there's a right turn, starboard turn in the channel here. It's narrow by Chesapeake standards, but the channel is probably at least a mile wide there. So we've swung out a little bit to our port to give this ship a little bit wider berth, and should be no problem. We're not going to be in their way at all, but their wake might be an adventure. We'll see. Here's the AIS information about the GNG Concorde 3. Shows all the details about this ship, including its home port, or at least the flag they fly under, which is Hong Kong in this case, doing just under 13 knots, and on their way to Baltimore. And there's where we're at, and we're about 3.5 miles from that red marker right there, and that's that relatively narrow portion of the channel that I mentioned. So we're pointed out a little bit more to the port side. Just want to make sure they get by us just fine, and I'm not sure if I'm going to turn back into their wake or not. We'll have to see how big it looks as it starts to come at us. This is by far the largest ship we've been this close to, and especially going that fast, 13 knots. So I'm anticipating a very large wake from it. And now she's almost even with us right now. There she is. There's the Hong Kong ship I was talking about out ahead of us, and their wake is just getting to us, and it really was nothing. Almost nothing. Notice with these big ships we seem to get a couple wakes. We get an initial wake, and then there's like a little gap, and then we get rolled again, and it looks like there's a little more coming, but it's going to be a non-event. The turns out there was a little more wake coming, and it didn't get the camera out fast enough to see the worst part of it. But we're still in it now a little bit. But really, no big deal.
A lot of rocks. That barge is rocking. That barge rocks. Like they're teaching them. They're young sailors. That's so cute. Oh my gosh. I don't hear yet. Spot, honey. I think I want to live here.
Good Lord.
Okay, we walking? Oh. St. Anne's Parish. Yep, it's beautiful.
So as we walked through town, it looked like they paved over the original brick streets to preserve them.
That looks like that's been there for a while.
The Irish pub she mentioned.
Prince George Street.
It's totally symmetrical, so you could just divide the whole house in half, and everything is equal on both sides, and it's that way inside as well. But what really makes this house unique, there was a judge, Jeremiah Townley Chase, who rented that space for like the very port of colonial Maryland, and there was an unobstructed view of the water.
Wow.
And so people in their ships would look up at the house from the backside, and it's just as glorious from the back as it is from the front. And again, you'll notice the symmetry all the way up to the coin window, which is identical to the one at the front of the house. But central to the back of the house, this window is actually a jib door where the window slides up into the wall, and then the lower half opens out, and so you can exit from the dining room into the garden, and it aligns with the front door, so this is colonial air conditioning.
Oh, wow.